Welcome to Mediumship Moments with psychic medium Kim Dorham. Join her as she shares her personal journey with mediumship, connects with your loved ones, and discusses topics dealing with spirituality.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mediumship Moments. I'm your host, second-gen psychic medium Kim Dorham. How's everybody doing out there? We good? We good? Thank you again for tuning in and listening. You know, we had put out here on my Instagram, Mediumship Moments, what kind of podcast you love to listen to. And a lot of you put in there about the murder cases, missing person, cold cases that I've worked on. And I've worked on hundreds of them. And I pick and choose different cases that I thought I'd bring to you today. And one of which is a case that I have to say hit me in my heart and my gut when I worked on this case. You know, my mom was a well-known psychic medium that worked on over 240 murder or missing persons cases in her lifetime. You know, and I didn't realize, you know, the difference of what my mom did or the impact of what her work had on my life until I got a little bit older. And I can remember looking back now that my mom was protective, more protective at certain points in my life. And those actually corresponded to when she was working on murder cases or missing persons cases of kids. When I was presented this case, that had the same effect on me. I found myself being really protective of my daughter at that time. So I want to walk you through the Shane Montgomery case. Truly had a profound effect upon me, my way that I look at cases. And it was one I'll never forget. I carry with me with every case I do. So this missing persons case happened quite a bit ago. I think it's almost 10 years now. And at the time I was, I would say, transitioning into this field. I was doing a lot of classes, a lot of work, and dipping my toe into whether I could take over the baton full time in this work. And there was a gentleman, his name's George, who actually had worked with my mom. And he reached out and said, listen, my cousin's missing. Would you help us? And, you know, usually I go through a process of vetting and, you know, sitting with people with items. But this happened around the holidays, and there was obviously immediacy of being able to, you know, there's a show 48 Hours, right, that talks about murder cases and missing persons, things like that. And really crucial, the first 48 hours are. So George picked me up and my partner went with us, you know, security. And we headed over to Roxborough, Pennsylvania. And I don't really watch the news because when I watch the news, I can see what's transpired. You know, let's say the gas station was robbed. I'll see the person robbing it and see the person who got shot. And so it's not really enjoyable for me to watch the news. I'd rather watch something more relaxing, a show in Alaska or, some science show to relax. But anyway, so George picked us up. We headed over to Roxborough. And this young man, Shane Montgomery, had won out. I believe it was the night before Thanksgiving, as a lot of young people do. You know, you're home for the holidays, you're catching up with your friends. And he went out to celebrate, then have a couple beers with his buddies. And he didn't come home. So George took us over to Roxborough and took us to where he was believed to have walked, meaning Shane. And when we got there, there was a vigil going on, candlelight vigil, and it just started to get dark. And I really didn't want to interfere with the vigil going on. The energy of the grief, obviously, I'm not going to be walking around the park going, excuse me, can you move over with your candles and your thoughts and prayers while I work the case. And George didn't know that the vigil was going on either. He was just, I had availability And it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. So we were there for a little bit, but psychically, I can see energy. I can see energy on people, places, and when I say opportunity. But I have this ability to follow an energy trail that people leave behind. So I could see, and I see psychically pictures, or I'll see clips, movie clips, I call them, of things that transpired. So the energy wasn't good. It was a vigil going on. I was there maybe an hour. And I said, George, I need to come back when there's not all these people here. There's cameras. I said, it isn't, I feel uncomfortable intruding. It's a difficult time to work with all these people here. And he totally understood. So he put me in touch with a family member. And this gentleman's name was Kevin. And Kevin was a former Philadelphia police officer. And he did not believe in psychic mediums, not one damn bit. So Kevin comes to my office. And I often say, your energy speaks before you do. And we sat down together, and he had obviously intrepidation with people like me. And I understand that. I often say my skeptics are my loudest advocates. So we did a vetting process. Now, what is that? I proved my worth, let's say. I had Kevin bring some items. I like to work in metal. So bring a lanyard, bring his keys, which he didn't have at the time, but he had a lanyard, photographs. And I sat with Kevin one time and I started to pick up things and things I wouldn't know. But I said to Kevin, I said, listen, your energy of not believing in me is kind of impeding my ability to work with you. We have to have this mutual agreement that I'm going to tell you things that I shouldn't know. You're going to take pieces of this puzzle and you're going to put them together. And he was the liaison with his buddies with the Philadelphia police. And I said, after sitting with him, I said, listen, is there another family member who can come and join us? I want to do like a mediumship circle. And what that is that I use another person's energy as a battery to communicate, along with Kevin's, to those that have crossed over who are part of Shane's spiritual posse, whether that's family members or friends, to see if they can help me communicate with him on the other side and have him help me show me where he is. And so after a little over an hour, I drew some pictures with Kevin, made some suggestions, new things, and we arranged for me to go out. I said, I need to go to the site. So we made arrangements. I went out to the site after holding on. It's called psychometry, right? So I go out to the site and I can see this energy trail. Now, when Kevin sat with me, I talked about Shane going out of the restaurant and going right, going across the street over like this little bridge and up a hill. And what I will let you know is that they had a witness at the bar, a bouncer, who said, no, Shane went out and he went left. And so the search for Shane started about a mile down the Schuylkill River, based upon what this eyewitness said. And they had brought in the FBI and divers and put them in the river then. So here I come to this case, and I'm telling them the total opposite. I said, no, I can see his energy trail. I can see him walking. I can see where he headed. I said he came out. He went up a hill. And I can see grass. And I described a trellis. It kind of looked like a concrete bridge, and it had scrolls on it. And I said he went up this hill, and I said I can see, and this is how specific I was. This was poignant. I can see a 2-foot column of concrete with kind of like a sewer top on it, and a lime green neon painted K on the side. So I told Kevin this, drew pictures during that initial vetting or psychometry session. So He gives the information to the detectives. And lo and behold, they go out there and they find it. Now, when I was there the first time, the only place I was right there by this little bridge by the park where the vigil was happening. I didn't walk up a hill, didn't go to the river, like I said, I was there less than really an hour, felt uncomfortable, wasn't the right time, and we'd made arrangements for Kevin to sit with me. So they were like, how would this person know this? And I said, well, it's called remote viewing. I can be here in the office and then see where he walked. I hold on to these items and they're playing a tape recorder of his actions, if you will, or a video of his actions. So that kind of made Kevin a believer because of how specific I was. So now I'm going to go out to the site. Okay. So we make arrangements to go out. And it's Kevin and I. And I come over the hill. I come over the bridge, past the park, down to the river, but up that hill. And we come, as I'm going down to the river, we come to the river. Now, when I had sat with the psychometry part, I could see certain things. And I get to the river and I point. His keys are right here. Shiny things. I can see his keys. Now, again, the FBI are down the river with their divers, and I am 3/4 of a mile up and telling them his keys are in the river. So, as Kevin said, he got into a pissing match and said, listen, this woman's saying this, this, this. So now I'm going to sit. And when we were at the river, I told them different things I could see. I felt that he was intoxicated. I felt that he came out, was kind of stumbling, and that he went over in that direction. Again, totally the opposite of what witnesses had said. So we now sit and we do what I call a mediumship circle. And that just is linking with family members that can be used as a battery. Shane was a 21-year-old college student from Westchester. And, he was such a popular kid. He had aspirations of working in the music industry. I mean, he truly was an old soul. He was a big athlete and ran cross country at Roman Catholic High School. And he was, very well known for his loyalty to his buddies and friends and sense of humor and his understanding of music, which I found out later on. I find that ironic that he and I linked to music in that way. So when he took a turn for the worse out of that restaurant and that bar, it obviously changed so many lives. So we sit down and we do a mediumship moment, circle with I don't know if it was Kevin's wife or Kevin's sister, but I know she was a nurse. And I needed somebody to balance that energy of Kevin's. And again, he was, a tough cookie. I get it. Police officers are like that. You have to be skeptical. The evidence will lead you. And I get it. And again, I give them pieces of the puzzle that they put together. They have the training to do that. And they do a wonderful job. They really do. So Kevin brings, I think her name was Kathy, to sit with me. And she was wonderful. Her energy was beautiful. It balanced Kevin's quite well. So mediumship circle is just me linking with their energy and their angels. I'm a conduit, right? It comes from spirit, through spirit, to spirit. Well, during this session, the first person who comes forward is an Irish woman. She'd be talking to me like this. And she says her name is Veronica. She says that I got me boys with me. I got me 3 boys with me. Well, she had her 2 sons, and she had Shane with her. Now, I never take hope away. Never, ever, ever. I have seen amazing things in my life, in the operating room, and I never give up hope that someone who's missing is crossed. But when I get to the point of doing a mediumship circle and you have a grandmother who was Shane's mother's mother come through and give me such poignant information, it was obvious Shane was there. So Veronica comes through and she gives me this information, and she's pretty much the go-between, shall we say. And it's not that Shane was bashful to talk. He was just so new. He was just such a new angel. I lovingly tease they don't know how to use their wings yet to get to the microphone. So that often happens. And Veronica came through and she'd be showing me things. And Shane had told her, and she told me, he said, well, I know he apologized kind of for what happened. He was sorry. And, obviously he passed along loving messages to his family, but he said, I know you're trying to help. So he was telling me things to show them where he was and to give them information that no one would know. So one of those pieces of information is he says, I know they have my sweatshirt at the bar. They have it on the chair. Well, I later found out exactly that. As a memorial to him, they had his sweatshirt draped over a bar stool. He showed me where he was in the river. I could smell, and for those people that, I grew up, my aunt had a place up in Snowshoe, Pennsylvania, and we'd go out to the lake, to the river, the creek. I think they call it the creek, and it was flat and rocks. And the river smell of rocks, in the water. I could smell the river rocks. I knew he was upside down. He showed me a tattoo on his back that I drew. He told me other personal things about family members. And now he wanted me to help find him. And he showed me where he came out of the bar, that he was quite inebriated. I mean, truly to the point where, and I'm not blaming anyone. I mean, it's very easy to be a Monday night, Monday morning quarterback, right? But someone should have had his back. Someone should have had his back. And whether that was a friend, a family member, or the bar itself, someone should have had this kid's back. He's 21. It clearly was overserved, and someone should have had his back. And this is before Ubers, but there's taxi cabs. But anyway, Shane came through, showed me some things about him personally, showed me where he was in the river. And Veronica is talking to me the entire time, his Irish grandmother. And she says, I got to me boys, I'll be looking after them. Not to worry, not to worry. So when I met, I think it may have been the third time, and I sat down and I drew what Shane was showing. He was showing me this narrow, it's kind of like a canal. It's the best way to describe it. And he showed me a bridge, and he showed me markings on the bridge. And I felt like it's one thing if you're up against the wall of a canal, let's say you're standing on it, and then you look to your left, and then you see this bridge. And then you see, the steel structures and things like that. And then I was drawing trees. But often when I do this, for some reason, I don't know why, left is right and right is left. Like I see a mirror image. And that's kind of what he was showing me. So I drew the pictures and the scenes of what transpired. Shane showed me that he went out of the bar, went to the right, went over this bridge, went down to the river. He stumbled. He was trying to relieve himself, and that he fell into the river and quickly passed. It was very, very cold that year, and drowned. And then he showed me where he drifted and where his body could be found. Now, this is a difficult subject, right? This is someone's child. This is someone's nephew. This is someone's son. This is someone's brother. And so to have family members sit with me and have this profound mediumship moment or connection where the grandmother's coming through, the two uncles he never knew on the physical plane because those boys, and they would have been, I guess, great uncles, uncles maybe, those gentlemen had crossed young ages, and one tragically, one quickly, unexpectedly. So they were also communicating with Shane. And so to have those people come forward, people that he never knew, to look after him and to send messages and to help him on the other side, but also help me communicate with him. And so when family members sit and you have that loss and it's like, I'm over there communicating with them when I do this. So coming back after they pull their energy back after the session ends, there's this realization, and that I found out, after they left. Because again, I don't want to know a damn thing. Do not tell me anything. I don't read a paper. I don't want to know what you know. Tell me nothing. I'm a mother. I'm a nurse. I'm a person with a heart. I don't want to be swayed or tainted. The less I know, the better off the case is. And this is how I work. But to sit there with those people, with his family, after having such a profound session, and give them information that they knew was absolutely spot on. And then they came back and verified it. So they took my drawing and they took it down to the Philadelphia police. And then the police got, from what I understand, quite heated with the FBI and the dive team, because the dive team are like, who's this person? What? What is she doing? What? So it took almost 2 weeks from the time I sat with the family, gave them these pictures, did the sessions, had gone out, pointed. They brought the diver up. And he found in the river, exactly where I pointed, Shane's keys. And it was once that they found the keys that they then agreed to search in that area. And that's when they found Shane. And they finally were able to bring him home. So I was honored to work on that case. I am blessed that Kevin said in the newspaper to a reporter that he thinks of me as an earthbound angel. And I am appreciative that they were so kind to recognize my abilities. So, as I've said, that case has stayed with me. The realization, there's all moms know this, even dads. I'm not, throwing the dads on the bus, but I have often said to my daughter, nothing good happens after midnight. Nothing good. And so to get that phone call at 1:00 in the morning that their son is missing, just, that panic, that absolute heart-stopping information. And if in some way, me sitting with Kevin and his aunt, his family members, to be able to give them some comfort to know that he was with loved ones, that he was okay, and that I could help the police and the FBI dive team to bring him home. Kevin actually said, he was pissed. He said, damn it, if we had listened to Kim, we would have brought him home 2 weeks earlier. So I am grateful for his acknowledgement of my abilities. And that case, as I said, had a profound impact upon how I work cases and how I move forward, that I always take Shane with me in any case that I do now. So again, it has touched my heart, and I found myself being very, very protective of my daughter. Very like, where are you going? Who are you going with? What's going on? We need to talk, and it reminded me of my mom. I was like, I had that aha moment. I was like, oh, this is why Joan did this. That's why she was like this. So I'm honored that I continue to work on cases, that people entrust their loved ones' belongings with me to sit and help. I have worked with federal, state, and local. I am working on cases all over the United States. It's an ability that I have. And if there's information I can give them that helps them in some way, that's the gift, right? There but for the grace of God go I. Yes, I'm blessed to have this ability. I look at it as an ability. Everyone's good at something, and I'm blessed to have this ability. And working with federal, state, local police officers, detectives, private eyes, even the family members who sit with me, I thank you for that opportunity. Now, I always encourage you, as always, I thank you for chatting with me, for listening to my podcast, and keep chatting with your angels because they can hear you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time for another episode of Mediumship Moments. If you enjoyed this episode of Kim's podcast, check her out on Instagram and TikTok at Kim Durham Medium.